This is Jim Mitchell. We're back with another episode of Libertarian Uncensored podcast. Let's get right into it. Most people do really only have one standard when it comes to politics double, and that's a post I made from Defiant L's, and that was Lawrence Tribe tweeting on December 14, 2016. All it will take is just 12%, a bit over 1/10 of the 306 Trump electors to vote against the walking, talking, impeachable offense. And then on July 18, 2023, he tweeted, "Here are the Michigan felony charges against the 16 fake electors who let the Trumpsters use them to try stealing the 2020 election." So the thing is that, they were pushing for, we can use the Electoral College to block Trump in 2016, but now when he tried to use the Electoral College his advantage in 2020, that was suddenly the worst thing ever. It just goes to show you, it's all double standards. They don't really care. They will always argue that their candidate won the Electoral College, and the outgroup candidate is illegitimate, even though I think, the Electoral College, it's not a good system, I would say. I'd rather have pure popular vote, because then at least, the tyrant ruler has plurality support. But, I think in the end, I don't think we should have elections at all, I would say. I think the concept of the election is inherently authoritarian because it forces people it gives people authority that people might not consent to. And I don't think that's the right way to go. And we have trans patients sue hospital that provided the records to Tennessee's Attorney General from NBCNews.com, and that is from Ninja Lover. And I personally don't think we should have medical records at all. I don't think people should be easily trackable like that. But I don't think the government should be able to access whatever records it wants. I agree with that. This is a step too far. If people don't want the government to access the records, I don't think they should be. I think they should be able to not let them. But I don't think we should personally have medical records at all, I would say. Then we have Adam Weitzman pays $400,000 fine, agrees to stop polluting the air with metal shredder from Syracuse.com from Ninja Lover. And I personally would agree that, I personally think if people don't want to are gonna pollute they on their own property, I think they should be able to. I think if people want to try and sue them, I guess you could make the argument that it could constitute a NAT violation. So I guess this is okay, but I guess you could make a property rights argument as well here. Then we have Rudy Giuliani concedes he made false statements against two Georgian election workers from Zachness, and that's linked to a post from NPR. And I would agree that, Rudy Giuliani's a grifter. I think they're all grifters, and I think the 2020 election grifting was really bad. I think the 2016 election was bad too, with all the Russian collusion and Russia hacked our democracy stuff. But I think the 2020 election was really bad, and I think Giuliani's just kind of a grifter, and I just don't really care too much about this. Then we have Libertarian sympathy for the devil. From Tom 13, the devil in town, Georgia, and was immediately arrested for possession. I would agree. I don't think the devil should be arrested for possession of any. I think the devil. You could argue he commits some NAT violations and probably should be in prison. But the thing is, I don't think anyone should be arrested for possession of anything, because I don't think if you possess anything, it's a NAT violation. So that's my thoughts there. Now, if you try and use it on someone else, that could be considered a NAT violation. But if you're just possessing something and keeping it to yourself, I don't think that's a NAT violation. Then we have outrage over Jason Aldean's trident in a small town from powerful JRE, and I said, agree with Joe here. A lot of stuff that people like Eminem have put over the years is much worse than this song, but no one will ever dare call him out for it. I wonder why. And then I linked to the video of him dissing Trump in 2017 with that rap at the BET Awards. And I said, so it's just it just goes to show you that people will only attack a song if they deem it to be from an outgroup song. And that's important to remember. And Jimmy Silverhand wrote, saying he's reading from City Hall in a town most famously known for lynching a black man found innocent by a jury, where their lyrics talk about small-town folks taking the law in their own hands, something Scott County could possibly be outraged over it. And I said, they filmed Hannah Montana in Columbia, Tennessee as well. I can't believe that is white supremacy now. You see, this is the thing. Anything will be white supremacy if it's narrative enough. So I think, that's the thing. Everything's going to be white supremacy soon enough. I think everything already is white supremacy, so I don't really care anymore at this point. And we have partially mummified bodies found at Colorado campsite where members of right-wing libertarians' family trying to live off the grid. And yeah, I personally, I don't know if they were I don't think this is from ABC News, but I don't think they were. I don't know if they were libertarians, but I think they have every right to live on their own. And if some people aren't going to survive, and that's just how life is. Sometimes people will die, and that's sad, but that's how life is. Then we have the real threat to free speech is coming from the right, from Newsweek.com, from Chi-Town 20. And I said, disagree. From my perspective, the lefts are the ones who are more open about wanting to censor what they deem to be hate speech and misinformation, though I definitely could see the right doing it as well. And you can definitely see the left, like Michigan's new misgendering bill. And the MSM's trying to explain that as, that's not a misgendering bill. It's just a transgender rights bill. But no, it's going to be used as a misgendering bill. And that's how they can how people are justifying increasing censorship. And I think, that's the left. And we can't let them get up on it. They tried to censor RFK Jr. out of this hearing in Congress. And people are always justifying it because they're the one, because they view it as good authoritarianism. We can't let good authoritarianism justify censorship. That's what my thought is there. You can just because something is good, you agree with is good, doesn't mean it isn't authoritarianism. Then we have Matt Taibbi, how the left lost its mind from Reason TV. I posted that and I said, him and Greenwald show the left won't take any dissent at all, even among formerly progressive darlings. The right's bad as well, but the left has gotten so much worse during the Trump years. And then we have, on this day, July 26, 1990, the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, was signed. While the law's intentions may have been noble, it serves as a stark example of how such government meddling leads to detrimental consequences. #Libertarian, #abolish the ADA, from the Libertarian Party of Pennsylvania on Twitter, and I posted that. And I said, as an autistic person, I used to support the ADA, but I do think it's important to not force standards on people as long as they're not filing NAP, and that is something that the ADA does. Then we have, if one team is imprisoning their opponents while the other wants to make sure politicians are treated with respect, which team will win? From Michael Mouse on Twitter, and I posted that, and I said, the only fair compromise would be to impeach and imprison all the politicians. They should do that. The fairest compromise, in my view, is throwing Trump and HRC in the same jail cell, because those two, they were two of the most unsufferable individuals in politics, and I still don't think we're over the 2016 election at this point, so I think that would be a good way to heal from that as well. Then we have That's Literally What Your Network Is, from Brad Palumbo on Twitter. I posted that, and he was replying to Mehdi Hassan, who tweeted, imagine if liberals or the Dems had a nationwide messaging apparatus, an actual propaganda arm, which pumped out Jared Kushner's name and alleged misdeeds daily hundreds of times, and you start to understand the messaging imbalance in the country and how GOP gets away with so much. And I said, it's only propaganda when the other side does it. I think that's important to remember. There's tons of Dem propaganda as well, but no one will ever call them out besides me on the and few others in the subreddit, and that's why it's important to always call out propaganda when you see it. The United States planned sliced bread for 2 months in 1943, from Frosty Sloman from Wikipedia, and I said, could see it happening again if/when war with Russia/China/Iran gets hot. And we have Lifehack, give Democrats money, you don't have to go to jail, from Tim Pool on Twitter, and I posted that. And then he's replying to a story about how a tweet from Wall Street Silver about how, so that's why they'll need with UFO and Sam Bankman-Fried they're dropping the charges against him for the campaign finance violation. I said if SBF had given the wrong party money, I'm sure the narrative would be different. Doesn't really matter though, because they're pretty much a uniparty. Land ownership makes no sense, from Ruin My Circles Work, and that's a story from Wired. I guess you could make that argument. I personally think you could, I think you can make either argument and consider it libertarian. But I think if people want to defend what they view as their land, they should be able to do so. And if they don't want to if you think that if you think public owner if they think land ownership isn't a real thing, then they shouldn't be forcing their senators online anyway. So that's my fault there. Chase Bank has shut down our business bank accounts, along with the accounts of my CEO and CFO, as well as their family members, including spouse and child. They refused to provide any reason for doing so. The oldest account has been active for 18 years from Dr. Joseph Mercola on Twitter. And I posted that, and I said, what did I say? It's down here somewhere. Debanking is one way to impose social credit. I think Spike Cohen has the correct take. Within a couple of years, we will find out that the government coordinated with pressured banks to shut down accounts that go against the government narrative, the same way they do with social media companies. Definitely wouldn't be surprised with that. If the Twitter files coming out, and now that Jim Jordan putting out the Facebook files, I definitely wouldn't be surprised if the government was doing that. So we'll see how that goes. I personally think my complete thoughts would be, I agree. We need to hold businesses accountable for corporate authoritarianism and debank people for agenda reasons constitutes that IMO. They did it to Nigel Farage as well. I'm sure you'd agree if they debunked the leftists for supporting BLM. Also, I like the point that Cohen made in my comment. Who say if they aren't colluding with the government? I support free association, but businesses need to be aware of backlash as well. The left should agree. I thought they hated giant multinational corporations like Chase. So you gotta stand up if you think a business is being authoritarian to people for reasons that aren't fair, and that is something that I think is happening here. I think Mercola is probably a quack, but I don't think that's a reason to justify debanking someone. I definitely think debanking as a form of imposing social credit will continue to rise in prevalence as time goes on. Then we have, after government cyanide bomb poisons boy, family pushes ban from theintercept.com by Patan Furtan. And I guess, that's a good argument, I guess. But, the thing is, you can't ban anything because people will just make it illegally. Same thing with drugs. I'll write that down. You can't ban anything because people will just make it illegally. Same with legally. See guns, drugs, abortions. Then we have Google Web Environment Integrity is the new Microsoft Trusted Computing from NELC.org from Frosty Slowman. And then Google has proposed an extension to the web standards we all use to develop hard security. This plan uses to down block traffic towards your ads without finding a way around trapping consumers in their security facade. Google has already pushed WEI into open source Chromium, and with the dominance of the web engine and ad prior, the decision of how to run the web is being forced on everyone. Yeah, I'd agree with that. The thing is, I don't like forcing standards on people, and this is definitely forcing a standard on people. I would agree there. A Star Reporter's break with reality from theatlantic.com from Ninja Lover bits about Lara Logan and how she's kind of going off the rails. And I like what Level Lab 3231 here says. Looks like she's on the right track if corporate media doesn't like her. Yeah, I think she's kind of nut job, but if the corporate media is definitely not your friend either, so that's important to remember. Then we have Epstein customers. Elon Musk's ex reinstates user who posted child exploitation photos. This is why Republicans were celebrating his takeover from Mashable.com for Chi-Town 20. And yeah, I like what No Mercy John here says. Y'all are great. No, the Democrats are the pedos, not it's the Republicans. Duck season, rabbit season, duck season ad nauseum. These two parties seem to be pushing Rick pedos in their own circles, but when one gets ousted, it's the other side who's to blame. How about we just demolish pedos who are pedos, or how about we realize how fucked politicians really are? I'd agree with that. I'd give that an upvote. Then we have normal people don't behave like this from Ian Miles Cheong on Twitter, and that was a person who was having a temper tantrum like a 5-year-old over being misgendered. And I said, people like this strike me as living more on social media than in real life. It seems like we are growing in numbers, sadly. These types can be right-wing as well. I'm just fucking tired of people who act like 5-year-olds having a temper tantrum when they don't get their way. The Libertarian predicts that if you want to freak out like this, you should be able to do so, but don't be surprised if there is social backlash to acting like this. Tesla created secret team to suppress thousands of driving range complaints, the innovations of capitalism, from Reuters.com, and that was number Chi-Town 20 post. And yeah, I guess you consider that a NAP violation, but I guess you could go either way there. I personally think Elon's not your friend. No one in business or government is your friend. No one's your friend except you can't trust anyone except yourself. That's my big lesson when it comes to life. You can't trust anyone can and will betray you at any second if given the opportunity to do so. It all comes down to what do I need to say to go get what you do what I want. From Michael Malice on tweeted by Dan Cotter, and I posted that. It's Michael Malice quote between Ray and Cotter. And that was how a quote to you, Sam Elliott, Supercut. See if you can spot the differences in media coverage between 2019 and 2023 whistleblowers. And I said, the media in 2019 speak truth to power and don't be afraid to come forward about those who are abusing it. Media in 2023, don't do that when the right people are in power. People love speaking truth to power, except if it's power that they agree with. So I think, the thing is that you gotta hold power accountable. It doesn't matter what the media says, doesn't matter what the person in power says, you gotta hold people in power accountable, and that's why I think you should always try and get all the government officials. I think regardless of what position they have, you should impeach every single government official, and I think that would be true regardless of party. I think that would, even if the Libertarian Party takes over, I'd probably still kind of go with that logic. I don't trust people. If I was in power, I'd say impeach me because, I don't trust people. I don't think we should have. I think we should just have a never-ending cycle of impeachment. Just get everyone out of there, and then when we've impeached everyone, we just get rid of the government. How about that? I think that's a fair compromise, and we should do that. Twitter under fire for insane account that posts child sex abuse. I'm confident this is the free speech heaven right-wing libertarians we were hoped for. From Chi-Town 20 from Washington Post, and we talked about that earlier. It's kind of an agenda post, but whatever. Yeah, we talked about that. So yeah, I'm not here to defend Hillary Clinton, but I'm pretty sure that regardless of your opinions about the Clinton family, that she obviously does not have the ability to legislate what happens in a foreign country. I do, however, condemn military operations in Libya, and that was Clint Russell, a post from International Civil War, and they linked the tweet from Reluctant Flint Russell, and he tweeted, Hillary Clinton is personally responsible for the open-air slave markets in Libya. When she will tweet out some search of 1 year since the fall of a woman are suffering because of abortion bans. You have no soul. You should be in prison. Please shut up. I said, Clinton's correct. HRC clearly pushed for the overthrow of Gaddafi and the destabilization of Libya. It's a big reason Bernie likened her to Henry Kissinger, another guy who liked to use foreign policy to stabilize countries. Gaddafi was unquestionably a tyrant, but with Saddam Hussein overthrowing him had tons of negative consequences. So, she was Secretary of State when she pushed to stabilize Libya. That was by no means a powerless position, but this will always find a way to defend Hillary. Really shows its general user base. The same can be said for Reddit as a whole. Then we have Don't Be Fooled. Conservatives love big government from Remove My Circle Jerk from Reason. And I guess, yeah, everyone loves big government when they're in charge. That's why I think we need small government. We need maybe everyone have their own government. That's my thoughts there. Then we have, what did Milton Friedman think was the least bad tax from My Circle Jerk? And that was, it's a link to a YouTube video from Benjamin LeJong. Milton Friedman talks about property tax. So he was really against the George. I guess it's kind of a George's post. I guess you could make the argument that if people don't, I personally agree roughly George's, but I don't think if people don't want to pay land value tax, they should have to. If they want to opt into government that has no taxes instead, or opt into one that has land value tax, makes you be able to. I think people should determine what tax they want to pay and what government they want. That's my thoughts there. Then we have empathy is a dying art form, and I posted that never define L's tweet, and that is from Rebecca Jones tweeted on March 6, 2021, Twitter makes it far too easy to attack and hurt other people. Anonymity allows cowards to start and post threat rumors without any accountability for what they say. Some people are completely devoid of empathy, political, personal, or both. Twitter needs to stop the harassment. And then on yesterday, or 3 days ago, July 25th, 2023, Dear Universe, thank you for the birthday present. Stan is in a car accident on his way to Tennessee presidential campaign events. And I said the same group who will call you unempathetic, who will openly be celebrating something bad happens to someone in the out group. So it just goes to show you that empathy is dying out for him, and social media I think is a big reason for that. And I think we're gonna wrap it up there, and I'll see you guys next episode. Bye.